Hi everyone, so in this video we want to go ahead and discuss the divider-chooser method, which is a method for fair division games. So let's review what is fair division games real quickly. So in life we often have to divide items. This can be anything from you're playing with your brother and sister and you've got to divide up their toys or even your kids, right? They don't frequently like to divide items very well. Or it could be a birthday cake. How do you decide who gets the bigger piece of cake? Obviously the birthday person, right? But then you can get more complicated where you can start talking about estates or divorce proceedings where you're thinking of dividing and how complicated it can get depending on what you're dividing. Money, houses, everything like that. So when we need to divide these items, it cannot always divide it equally, right? You can't divide up a house. It doesn't quite work like that. And not everything is valued the same. So we need to come up with a new way to divide items. How are we going to do that? So there's several fair division methods out there. In this video, we're only going to be talking about the divider-chooser method. So this is a really well-known method. And basically the divider-chooser method is also known as you cut, I choose method. So what does that mean? You're cutting, I'm choosing, okay. But it is used in a continuous set when there are only two players. So there has to be only two players. And one of the players will be the divider and the other will be the chooser. Now you'll notice that I also said this was for a continuous division. So a continuous division is when you have a set of goods which can be divided an infinite number of ways. So examples would be things like pie, land, money, cake, etc. Anything that can be divided a multitude of ways. So in this method, it's for things that can be divided in an infinite number of ways and when there are exactly two players. One divider who's going to divide the items up, and then the second player is the chooser. So the question might be, how do we guarantee that we're going to get a fair division? How are both of the players going to walk away and say, hey, I feel like I got a fair deal, everything is good? Well, in this idea, if you're dividing the cake, you have to make sure that you're fine with both of the divisions such that the other player can pick either one of the divisions. So you have to be sure you're fine with either one because you're going to be left with the leftover one. So most likely the divider will break it up into even distributions and the chooser will pick the one that he likes the most out of the two divisions. Oh, isn't that cute? Okay. Sharing time. So here's the first example. So here I have a chocolate cake. Ooh, yummy. It looks so good. Now, we have some special requirements here. Player one is going to like chocolate and strawberry equally, but player two is only going to like strawberry. So if we see here, the cake is half chocolate, half strawberry. And you're like, who's the crazy person who doesn't like chocolate? That's me. I'm not a big fan of chocolate. I know, I'm kind of insane, but that's okay. So when we're looking at this cake, there's several different ways to break it up. Well, the first thing is we have to decide who is the divider and who is the chooser. And often this happens with something such as like a flip of a coin or some random outcome that will tell you who's the divider and who's the chooser. So let's say you flip a coin and player one becomes the divider. Okay, player one is the divider. Well, they like chocolate and strawberry equally. So they could go ahead and cut this into many different ways. Maybe they decide, hey, I'm going to cut it straight down this way. imagine that's a straight line. So this would be one share, and then this would be another share. I cannot draw a circle to save my life. That's okay. So this would be slice 1, this whole entire section, and this would be slice. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better of a division there. But imagine this is slice 1, this entire section, and then this is slice 2. So you see you get about half chocolate, half strawberry, right, in each of those slices. Now, player 2 is the chooser. So once the divider divides up the cake, then the chooser gets to decide which piece do I want. Now, he only likes strawberry, and there's an equal amount of strawberry in each one. So maybe he's like, I guess it doesn't matter. I can choose either one. So maybe they choose S1. Okay, they say it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So once they choose S1, that means that S2 is going to go to the divider. And he's happy with that because he cut it so that it's equally. Now, we could do a different division. Perhaps divider 1 was like, I'm going to go ahead and cut this way instead. So cut it into chocolate and then cut it into strawberry. That's possible because he likes these amounts equally. So he wouldn't have a problem with cutting straight across, and then either you have a chocolate slice or a strawberry slice. So slice 1 or slice 2. Now, player 2 has a decision. Should they choose slice 1, the chocolate, or slice 2, the strawberry? Now, they only like strawberry, so I'm pretty sure player 2 is going to choose the strawberry because they don't like the chocolate. That's worthless to them. So player 2 will get the strawberry, and they're happy with that because they only like strawberry. And then that means that player 1, the divider, is going to be left over with slice 1, the chocolate. But remember, he doesn't feel like it's leftovers. He feels like, oh, I'm happy with that as well. I'm equally happy with either slice that I made. So it all depends on how the divider cuts up the cake to begin with. Now, he's always going to cut it so that each slice is equally valuable to him. And then the chooser will decide, which one do I want? Yay! And they'll both be happy. So the question is, do you think it's better to be the divider or the chooser? Well, the divider is always guaranteed to get 50% value, meaning that he always divides the goods or the cake or whatever it is into 2 equally valuable items because he has to be fine with either outcome, either slice. So he's going to be fine with either one. But the chooser may or may not benefit and get a piece that's worth more than 50%. So what I mean by that is in this example, you saw that the divider was happy. He got 50% in his opinion of the cake. But player 2, only the strawberry was valuable to him. So in his mind, he got 100% of what he wanted, right? Whereas player 1 got 50%, which is what he's entitled to. Since there's 2 players, you're entitled to 50%, half the cake. So divider is always guaranteed 50%, but the chooser sometimes will be benefit because they'll get more than 50%. So it's actually better to be the chooser in this situation because the divider is left with whatever is left over. Okay, so let's do another example. So here we have a 4-flavor cake. You know when you go to like Walmart and they have those cheesecakes with the different flavors? Oh, so good. I need some cheesecake. So in this example, this cake has strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, and orange. Now, 2 friends, because remember, this always involves 2 people, the divider and the chooser. They're going to divide this cake. Now, there are some ideas here. So Arthur likes chocolate, orange, and strawberry equally well, but hates vanilla. So the vanilla is going to be worthless to him. So that's Arthur. Brian likes chocolate and strawberry equally well, but hates orange and vanilla. Suppose Arthur makes the first cut, meaning that Arthur is the divider. Okay, so they flipped a coin and the coin came up that Arthur was the divider. How would he cut the cake? So keep in mind that Arthur likes chocolate, orange, and strawberry equally well. So he likes these parts equally well, and he doesn't care about the vanilla. Now, keep in mind that when he cuts the cake, it has to be 50% value for him because he has to be fine with either cut. So he wouldn't be able to cut it this way and be like, well, I don't like vanilla, so let me cut it out. Because what if Brian decided, hey, I want this piece? Then Arthur would be left with the vanilla, which is worthless to him, and he'd be so sad. So Arthur has to make sure he cuts it evenly. So the first way you could do this is cutting across like so, because the chocolate, strawberry, and orange are equally valuable. So basically, you're ignoring the vanilla and just making sure the rest is equally valuable. So he'd be fine with either one of these. This would be even. So he'd be fine with either this side or this side. They're indulging today. Imagine this is a small cake that you're dividing. It's not like a humongous cake. And they're going to eat it all. So how else could he cut the cake? Well, he couldn't cut it this way because it would not be equally likely. If you look here, strawberry and vanilla are not going to be equally likely, so that wouldn't work. Couldn't cut it this way because, again, the vanilla is worthless. So this would be 2 of the 3 sections that he likes. So I would say what you could do is you could cut it, be a little bit more creative. You could cut it this way. Now this is a very strange cut. You're like, okay, what's going on there? So remember, vanilla doesn't count, right? So vanilla is worthless for Arthur. Who doesn't like vanilla? That's crazy talk. So basically, you have to make sure he has at least 1.5 of those sections. So 1.5 of those sections are worthwhile to him. So that could be a cut. He could also cut it this way. I know this seems very weird, but remember the vanilla is worthless. So we just ignore that vanilla and we say, okay, there's 1.5 cuts this way and 1.5 cuts this way. So the divider-chooser method, what I really want you to take away from this is that the divider always has to guarantee that he's cutting it at 50% value because he has to be fine with either section that he's cutting. So it may not look like 50-50, right? This one doesn't look like 50-50, but to the person who's cutting the divider, Arthur here, it is 50-50 because one of the sections is worthless to him. So when you're doing the divider-chooser, make sure you explain to the divider that you always want to make sure you'd be fine with either piece. And then the chooser does have that advantage of sometimes they'll get more than they bargained for. So more than 50%. So like, for example, Brian likes chocolate and strawberry equally, but he won't eat the orange and vanilla. So he'd probably choose this one where he's getting 1.25 and he's very happy with that. He would choose that side. Again, he'd probably choose this side because he's getting the chocolate and strawberry. This one would be a toss-up because he likes chocolate and strawberry equally, so it wouldn't really matter to him. He'd be getting one section that he likes no matter what. So try this out yourselves, see what you come up with, and then if you have any other questions, let me know. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the divider chooser method.